But then you went and said you're going to win the league, mate.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I'm not. I do like him, but I don't think he's like your best player. I think you've got better players. Every team has like a key player, don't they? And Pau's one of ours, so he.
But I can let you say it because I know you watch Forest. I know you know our players.
Probably win, I think. That's not being disrespectful. That's just.
Shut up, man. Don't think I didn't see your preview. 3-0. 3-0. Welcome to another match preview for Aston Villa against Nottingham Forest. Please don't forget, as always, guys, hit that like button, subscribe, and you've only got until this evening to get your tickets for the Sign Frame Danilo show, which looks a bit like mine. The link is in the description down below. And we can't do it with anyone else other than my buddy Luke from UTV Up the Villa podcast. The link is in the title and in the description. Make sure you go and subscribe to his channel because honestly, if you guys think I'm geeky with stats, you should see Luke, man. You love your stats, don't you, Luke?
Yeah, to be fair, I do like stats, but obviously we both sort of partnered with Sofascore, so it'd be hard not to, really.
Best app in the world, guys. Get that downloaded. Get that downloaded. It's got to be done. The link's in the description as well. But how are you, Luke? It don't feel that long ago, to be honest, that we kicked your asses at the City ground. You've been keeping well since then, mate?
Yeah, we're still sort of at the top end of the table, so we're still doing all right.
Yeah, but you're like, I got so much stick last season, right? When I predicted Forest would finish 4th, right? And our mate James Alcott, he was laughing. And when I saw him at the FCAs, he was still laughing at me then, yeah? But then you went and said, you're going to win the league, mate.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
We had to do head and heart predictions.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously, your head says something lower than what you think. So your heart says something that you want to happen. So when I think we were like 3rd at the time in the league. So I said we'll win the league, and we were there. We were like just after Christmas time. So, I couldn't pick nothing else, could I?
So go on, mate. What's your heart saying now?
Top 4. I think we'll finish 4th.
Oh, that's come down towards your head, or up towards your head. No, but I was like, yes, that's gonna get the attention off me this year on James's video. He was right what he said about your haircut, mate. Pristine every time.
Yeah,
love it.
Cheers.
But yeah, mate. Since we played you, should we talk about the game first? Because you were showing me a lot of chest that day, and I was kind of agreeing with you a bit because it was under Cooper there. But that was probably the worst I've seen you lot perform pretty much all season. Like, I know we're taking the piss after about the high line and everything and how it played into Cooper's hands. But was that a bit of a wake-up call for you guys? Was it a bit of a reality check? Because you could have gone top after that game, if I remember rightly.
Yeah. It was a frustrating game for us because I think we obviously tried to control the game, but we just had no end quality on anything that we did. Like we'd get to the byline and it'd be an overhit cross, and it was just really, really frustrating. Martinez made that mistake, and it was just really frustrating to watch because we knew where you could exploit us, and that's where you exploited us. And Cooper did his normal job of sitting a bit deeper and just blocking us out, and we had no answers for it really. So I probably would agree it's probably one of the most disappointing performances that we have.
I'd probably say
naive. Season.
Naive would have been the right word, because you were saying how Emery does his homework, figures it out and everything, but it kind of felt to me like he was like, if we play our normal game, we should still win. And then we got in behind with the pace, got the goal, and like you said, that mistake by Martinez is an absolute clanger against Mangala of all people. But yeah, we were happy with those 3 points, but it's changed a bit because that bulletproofness, kind of looking at, am I still there? That bulletproofness at Villa Park, it's been a little bit, penetrated as of late. You haven't won in the last 3, if I'm not mistaken. Has that aura gone a little, or is there a bit of nervousness now we're getting towards the business end of the season, or do you just think it's a minor blip?
I think every team has had a dip in form. You know, you look at Spurs; they had one when Maddison was out. They're having a little one now. City had one around Christmas time. Arsenal had one, and we started to get ours sort of at the back end of December when, you know, we'd beat Arsenal at home, we'd beat City at home. We could have gone top at Christmas if we'd have beat Sheffield, and we drew that game, lost to United, beat Burnley, and then the form started to just dip a little bit. So yeah, I think we've come out of that blip now. And we just had some disappointing games at home, like Newcastle. We were terrible against Newcastle. Then we had Chelsea in the Cup. We weren't much better. United, our last home game, I don't know how we didn't win. Like,
mate, honestly,
we absolutely battered them. Yeah, so that one we played well. You know, and our last 3 games, we've played pretty well. We've smashed Sheffield 5-0. I think we should have beat United, and then we beat Fulham at the weekend. So it feels like it's slowly like getting better again now. So, but then we've had, you know, a couple more injuries. Like Kamara's done his ACL, so that's 3 players now. Buendia, Mings, and Kamara all done their ACL. Carlos is out, Cons is out. So he's sort of having to like scrap around with players at the back a little bit. And you know, I think you know that, you know, in football, you need to have a solid back 4 that's playing every week. And if you're chopping and changing, and, you know, against Fulham at the weekend, he played Power and Longley, and it looked really good. So, yeah, I just think it's tough, isn't it? Premier League, difficult. Like, you go through these little spells and stuff, and you got to sort of squash that spell as quickly as you can, and then move on.
Because what's interesting, because McGinn was playing out wide when you played against us, and I think he's moved him into the middle now, almost to cover that hole. As you said, Kamara's out, and I do rate Kamara a lot. I like him. I think he's a little small, but I think he does his job well. So is it almost turning into like a double pivot now with him and Luiz, rather than a straight out 6 that you've got in there with Kamara?
Yeah,
is that kind of a tactical change?
Well, it was a double pivot anyway, with Kamara and Luiz, and then Kamara was sort of dropping deeper and covering the right back, so he was sort of screening our right back. So McGinn is now super vert. He could play anywhere. So now McGinn is doing that role that Kamara was doing. So, and he played it pretty well at the weekend. So yeah, McGinn's just now shifted a little bit deeper. So it's McGinn's role now. McGinn's sort of took up Kamara's role.
Yeah. And then the guy I wish wasn't back was Pau Torres. I really like him. He's a proper ball playing centre back. And I thought he had a really good game against Fulham. And a lot of your kind of play almost started with him, I'd say. It's kind of almost quarterbacking it in a way for me. But is that a big return for you? Because I know, like you said, you got a few more centre-back injuries. But him coming back is definitely a positive for Villa, isn't it?
Yeah, like massive, you know. Like every team has like a key player, don't they? And Pau's one of ours. So he never played at Boxing Day at United, and then we had that bad run of form, and then he came back in against Fulham, and he's just crucial to how we play. You know, we play out from the back. You know, he fizzes balls into Ramsey. He's very progressive. He steps out from defence with the ball. He can take players out of the game with his, you know, coming into midfield, etc. So Pau's like one of our most important players, and just gets Villa ticking, basically.
Yeah. And the ones where I think you've been a bit weak, and this is me just as an outsider looking in, and I love him, he's ex-Forest boy. Yeah. Matty Cash for me is a bit hit and miss this season, a little bit. I know how you said like Kamara would come in and drop and cover him, but I know you got a lot of sticking against Spurs as well when he took out Bentancur. So can't wait. You're playing them soon. I'm looking forward to that reception. But is that the same? And a bit like Murillo, who was linked heavily with Forest as well. I think he's been decent, but maybe not perfect. Are your fullbacks a bit of a concern, or am I kind of paddling down the creek?
No, I'd say that's pretty fair. I think in the grand scheme of things, we've been playing Konsa at right back. So we've been
Yeah.
playing with 3 centre halves and a left back. So it would be, say, Pau, Carlos, and Konsa.
Yeah.
I think the thing is with Cash is that he's, I'd say in the last 2 games, I've been very happy with his performance. I think he's defensively been better. Tactically, he's been switched on. He's not as attacking. He's staying sort of at home more, which is what Konsa does. So when he does that, I can't criticise him at all. I think at times when he goes forward, it's a little bit sort of like he'll get in the areas, but you sort of, there's the quality and end product sometimes isn't there. And I think that's partly why I think he gets criticism. So I think, Konsa's better there than Cash, but I think Cash has been been good in the last 2 games. So I think if Cash plays like he has in the last 2 games, then I don't think any Villa fan would criticise him at how he's playing. But I do get what you mean. I think sometimes this season he's been a bit hit and miss, really.
He can end up kind of in front of the ball a bit too much. Like I say, he gets quite attacking, leaves that gap. We saw a bit of that when we played against you. Do you reckon it's an area you might look to strengthen in the summer at all?
Yes, so we've already signed a 18-year-old right back, Nedeljkovic. So he's like apparently one of most Europe's sought after young right backs. So we've signed him. He's on loan still now. But, I think we've signed him with a view that he'll be involved with the squad next season and try and make his stake into the match day squad.
Yeah. And then looking at your attack, I got a couple of questions, right? I said before the season started that Diaby was going to be player of the season. I love that player. I think he's quality, but he's had a bit of dip before. He's not getting picked at the moment, is he? You're kind of using Bailey ahead of him, and weirdly enough, Tillman, I can never say his name, in that weird false tennis position. But what's happened to Diaby? Like, is he not settled in, or do you think he still needs more time? Because he started really hot towards the start of the season for me.
Yeah, I think Emery's he's like a professor, and you've got to really grasp what he wants you to do. And I think at times Diaby's been playing in that sort of Tielemans role, so he's he's a sort of shadow striker, makes up a box midfield, play with your back to goal quite a lot. And I don't think that's Diaby. Diaby's better when he's front on at goal, like Bailey, pace, direct, link up, 1 touch, 2 touch, give and go. So he's not really been playing in sort of like the Villa Bailey role. But like you, he's a fantastic player. We've seen enough of him so far to see glimpses of what he can do. But I think it's just one of them. It's like sometimes you'll sign a player and next season he'll probably absolutely tear it up. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just different options what we've got, really. I think when he comes on, he looks a threat pretty much all the time. But I think that shadow striker role, I think he's not really sort of like made that position his own. And then partly I think it's not his position, if that makes sense. I
agree.
I think that's where we're at with Diaby, really.
It's a good headache to have, mate. I'm not gonna lie. You're worried about being fourth. You got Diaby who can't quite get into your team. Thinking back to where you were, 12, 18 months ago. It's not bad. It's not bad. You lot can't complain too much. I'm sure you got a few niggles that you like to complain about. But overall, I assume the mood in the Villa camp is if we can get the fan base camp is that if we can get top 4, what a season. Is that kind of the target?
Yeah, definitely. Now? I mean, just for even off-field stuff, sure we'll get into what's going on with you guys, but football now is not just about what's happening on the pitch. It's what happens off it is huge, because if you don't bring enough money in off the pitch, then on the pitch, you can't sign enough players. So I think for Villa to get top 4 with the revenue and Champions League and all this, it's huge, really. So I think the fan base know how, what an opportunity we've got, that while we're sitting in 4th, we've got to try and do everything we can to try and get in there, basically. And yeah, I mean, like you got, I don't think Sky or anyone really look further down the table than fourth place anyway, do they? So
No.
even now, like the media sort of like just discourage us, don't give us no credit. It's all about like United are now sort of banging form. It's Villa's to bottle basically, and it's like, come on, like there's more to football than just them teams. And
The
so
big six.
it kind of gives you that as a fan, that added sort of like, oh, I want us to do it just so we can like shut them up basically as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the fan base are happy, and yeah, we just gotta just embrace it.
Yeah, I do want you to get top four because I like it when it disrupts that big six. I quite liked Newcastle getting into it last year and what have you. It annoys, the likes of Sky, except TNT and all that. But let's jump down to the other end of the table, mate. Right? What have you made? Because one thing that stood out to me when we last spoke was you were one of the first opposition YouTubers that I spoke to that was calling out that Cooper wasn't good enough, and I was like, this guy knows his stuff, right? What have you made of Nuno so far from what you've seen? Obviously, you're not going to be watching it minute in, minute out with it being Forest. But from what you've seen so far under Nuno, what have your thoughts been on the new Forest era?
Yeah, I think it's exciting for your fan base to have a change and a different direction. I don't know what he did to Chris Wood when you smashed Newcastle. I have no idea. I couldn't believe what I was watching. So yeah, that impressed me a lot. I thought you were great that day, and I do watch your games, and I think your run that you've been on, I think you've been a bit unlucky recently. You've played well. On our preview, I said that you sort of like in the new manager transition where things are going well. There's good ideas. You're starting to see what you can look like, but at times there's probably like little teething problems here and there. But I think I like him. Like I liked him when he was at Wolves. He smashed it at Wolves, and he's attacking. He doesn't play boring football, and yeah, I think that the problem you've got is that you near the bottom end, so sort of like everything intensifies, doesn't it? Like if you lose a game, it's kind of like, God, like what have they done behind us? So I think you're in that mold as well. But I thought against West Ham, we were talking before that game, and I was like, you'll be fine, and you were fine, and you smashed it basically. So yeah, I think the early signs are really good, and I think it's exciting to see what direction and where he can take you really.
Under Nuno, any players stood out for you from what you've seen?
You know the one I like anyway. So, I like Morgan Gibbs. Mate, he's class.
I
He's
know
so
he is.
good.
I know he, but I can let you say it because I know you watch Forest. I know you know our players. Whereas, like, if I'm speaking to people, it's like, oh, Morgan Gibbs. So go on, say what you need to about our boy.
Yeah, I like Morgan Gibbs White. I think he's really good. I think he's got that sort of passing range now. I think where the sort of power he puts on a pass is really well timed, and I think when he gets the ball, you sort of expect something to happen. And when he's driving forward, he's really good. I think
because while you're doing your buttons thing,
I think
just on Morgan Gibbs, like what you said, I saw one of your videos the other day where you were talking about you almost liking him to a bit of Grealish when he was at Villa. And I was like, you know what? He's got something there. There is some similarities. Obviously, Grealish was kind of wider, but I could see that as well. And I thought there is elements of it. You're not saying, nor am I, that they're the exact same player. But there are elements, especially in the passing range and things like that. So, well played. I thought you were spot on when you said that.
Yeah, no, I just think he's really, really good. I think if he's ticking, then you're ticking as a team. Elanga, I've been impressed with him. I think he's a threat. Hudson-Odoi, he's looking pretty decent. He's not as consistent as what you'd probably want him to be, but you know what he's got in his locker. Dominguez, really solid, really good player. I just think you've got some really good players out of probably about 600 players, but you've got some good players there. Striker-wise, he's a threat in there. He leads the line really, really well. Can finish well. So yeah.
You're gonna ignore the elephant in the room. You're gonna ignore the elephant in the room.
Murillo.
Right. What did I say to you the other day?
No, I know this.
You're ignoring it on purpose now.
I'm not. I do like him, but I don't think he's like your best player. I think you've got better players than Murillo.
Look, right. Well, I was with who did we play last week? West Ham, right? So I was with Nicky from West Ham Fan TV, and I said to him, Murillo. He's like, who? And I'm like, you going to the game? He's like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to speak to you after the game, and we'll talk specifically about Murillo. He rings me up after the game. I didn't have to say anything. He was just like, yeah, you're right. He goes, I can see him replacing Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool. He goes, he's got like Saliba-ness to him. I was like, I told you. So I'm going to put the same thing to you, Luke. After the game, right? Keep an eye on Murillo. And I shouldn't be hyping him up, right? Because all the people...
no, because you know what's going to happen. You're just going to see Watkins blast past him, and that's what you're going to see now.
That's not what I'm worried about, right? We are kind of beginning to get an agreement amongst Forest fan base that we got to tell everyone he's crap, right? So no one tries to buy him, yeah? Trust me, he's better than your Pau Torres. He's better than your crappy
come on.
Trust me, man. Trust me. Chat, tell me if I'm right or wrong in the comments down below. Who's the better defender? Yeah. But yeah, watch him on Saturday and see what you reckon. Number 40. You'll know him. You'll know him after that. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just had to get that out. I got to defend my boy. But okay, so Nuno. Decent record against Villa. I think he's played 8, won 4, drawn 1, and lost 3, if I remember rightly. So he's given you guys a few problems. I don't think he's going to play as deep as Cooper did, but where we're really good at the moment is like the lightning counterattacks. So I think we probably will give you the ball. But how do you see this one playing out on Saturday? And how much chest are you going to show this time, mate? Because you were cocky last time, mate. Cocky last time.
I think it's going to be a tough game. I think because we've lost our last 3 at home.
Yeah,
you know that run's not going to keep going forever, is it? You know, those runs don't last forever. And I'm just thinking how we play. Like, I think we try and control the game. So obviously, your big threat's going to be we're controlling the game. You try and hit us on the counter, on that transition, wide players quickly getting up the pitch. So that's a massive, massive threat for you guys against us. But I think if we control the game as how we have been playing this season, then I think if we have a lot of the ball, I think we'll probably win. I think. That's not being disrespectful. That's just...
Shut up, man. Don't think I didn't see your preview. 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. All 3 of you, right? And you coming here trying to be humble.
No, I'm just being honest. Like it's hard for me to say like we're gonna lose at home or we're gonna play really poorly, because we've got like a style and an identity on how we play, and if we implement that style against you guys at our place, then I think we can win. You know, we've got Watkins bagging goals for fun. You know, Bailey's in form. Pau Torres is back. So I do think it's going to be a difficult game. Like if we're loose with the ball and you catch us, then you know you're going to hurt us like what Newcastle did with Gordon, etc. So. But yeah, I'm not going to say I'm not going to say we're not going to win, because I'd be lying basically.
I'd be insulted if you didn't think you were going to win. All right, but listen. One more question, right? Because I know all the Forest fans want to know this. You tried to meme me about the 600 players. I'm going to meme you back with your high line. Has Emery learnt his lesson? I know you keep going on about how people are over exaggerating the high line and stuff, yeah. But I think it screwed you against us. I think it screwed you at Man U at Old Trafford, definitely. Has he learnt his lesson, or can we expect that high line on Saturday?
See, right.
I knew I'd touch a nerve.
Right. The high line from Villa fans is called an offside trap. Right? Okay. So it's an offside trap, right? So basically, how it works really well is if the midfielders are pressing you guys. So if the midfielders and the striker press you guys, it stops that ball being able to play over the top. When we get that press horribly wrong and teams just start launching balls over the top for fun, then we start having problems. So against Man United, we'd lost our way with it. So if it all comes together properly, then it's not as bad. So when I say like Villa control the game, like we control our shape so that if we do get countered, it's not as easy for you guys to just like long ball running behind and you're sort of free. So I would say that high line hasn't been as high recently. I think it's been a bit deeper, but that's just how he plays. Like he'll just keep doing it. He'll just keep doing it because that's the way he sort of wants us to play. So, yeah, that's
all right. But
basically it, really.
secretly, would you like to see it drop like 4 or 5 yards? Or are you okay with it?
No, I'm all right with it.
Yeah,
because I'm like I say, like if the players are pressing properly, how he wants them to press, then you'll be offside loads of
yeah, but
times.
you can't be offside in your own half, Luke, man. Half the time at the City ground, all your players were in our half.
I know, but that's when it went wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like it went wrong there, went wrong against United. But generally, you know, we're catching players offside for fun. And what Emery does is that I think the reason why he does it as well is he uses the technology to his advantage.
Yeah.
Because he knows if you go over the top and score, there's a chance that it's probably going to be that minuscule that you're probably going to be called offside. And that's what's happened so many times this season. Like, you're just offside. So I think he uses the technology to his advantage. That's why I think he does it.
I think that gives me a little more optimism. I thought he would have learned.
No, he'll keep doing it.
Okay, that pleases me. That pleases me. Guys, in the comments, does that please you or not? Let us know down below. Luke, it's been a pleasure, mate. Oh, as always, we could just babble on for hours. Guys, go and subscribe to UTV. The link is in the title. As always, we're going to be doing a preview as well over on Luke's channel where I'll be telling him why Forest are going to beat him. So make sure you go check that out as well. Hit that subscribe. Like as well. What else do we have to tell them to do? Oh yeah, Sofascore. Best app in the world. Make sure you download that as well. We'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.